One of the most common threads that I have in conversations with other women over 50 is the feeling of being stuck. So, what if I told you that one of the things that makes the biggest difference and that I believe holds us back the most is that we're waiting for permission from others? If you're new here, hello, my name is Dr. Maria Martinez. And if you're back, welcome back. This is the Inner Authority Project, and here we talk about all things transformation, identity, and inner authority for women over 50. So, friends, I wanted to set some time aside to talk about this topic because I have personally felt in my life as if I was on pause, waiting for somebody to give me permission to live out loud, to live this next phase of life. As you probably have seen, if you've seen other videos, I'm 58. And in conversations with some of my besties and women my age, I often hear women say, I feel stuck. I just don't know how to make that next step. I know I feel a little disconnected, and yet I'm not sure what to do to change things. Or conversely, I also talked to women that said, I need to change everything. But yet, often we don't make enough changes, and it is possibly because we're waiting for somebody else to give us permission. And the sad part is that this is the permission nobody taught us to give ourselves. Ouch. Insert truth bomb here, right? Nobody taught us to give ourselves permission to move on from being mom, grandma, employee, spouse, and to doing all things to all people in our 20s and 30s and 40s, and now in our 50s, when we feel that desire to do something else, where we feel perhaps either disconnected or unfulfilled by the things that used to make us feel so great, we're almost at a standstill, as if somebody has to tap us on the shoulder to say, go for it, you can do this. So we're changing all of that today, because today I want to talk about that permission that we must give ourselves, the permission that we might be waiting for. And in this conversation, there's a couple of topics that I want to bring up to the forefront, right? The first one is that there is a sense of loyalty that keeps us stuck, or what I call the loyalty trap. Because let's face it, being good to everybody else and doing our job so well for so long felt good. We became so good at it that now that we put ourselves in a place where we might need to choose differently, it might feel as betrayal. Can you relate? It might feel as if we are putting somebody else, we're letting somebody else down. And I want us to sit with that for just a second, right? So there's this loyalty trap that does a really good job at keeping us stuck, as if we're waiting for permission to say, you did a great job, you can go ahead and move on. So the loyalty trap is real. And for me, really brought up a lot of emotions about being dependable, being reliable, being consistent, fixing things for everybody. And that became part of my identity. So there's this loyalty trap that we have to acknowledge if we want to indeed give ourselves permission, because it is okay. It is okay to create this next phase of our lives with clarity and confidence and purpose. The second point that I want to talk about today is, where is that guilt coming from? Where's the guilt coming from? When I think back to the very first memories that I had, I remember this is the way that I was raised. I'm the oldest sibling. For some reason, society has some expectations on us, and we grow accustomed to being the best at things. So I was best in school. I was best in college. I was the first to go to college, as a matter of fact. in my family. So I was the first one to go to the army, to go to the military. So there were a lot of things that I did first because I was really managing all of these expectations. And I have to come to terms and agree and give myself permission to realize that the decisions that I made when I was 28 and I was getting out of the military and entering the workforce, or in my 30s, and I already had two kids and I was making decisions in terms of where to live or what job to accept or when to relocate, right? All of these things were vital at that time, but yet that's no longer who I am. And instead of letting go and releasing all of those feelings and expectations, we often pause to ask ourselves, what's wrong with me? Can you relate? Maybe you can't, but I don't know. I feel so strongly about that. When I look back to the earlier phases of my life, this is where I was almost just nurtured to be a nurturer, a caretaker, the one that does things. So the third thing here that is important as we look forward to give ourselves permission is that it's okay to change our minds. Mic drop, mic drop. It's okay to change our minds. It's not quitting, it's certainly not failing, and it's not wasting our time. We, again, are not the women that we were 20, 30 years ago. And in fact, when we think about it, changing means we're paying attention. And for me, this was huge because I have always owned this sense of being a leader and a mentor and a coach and to be there for others. And something that I have come to realize these past few years as I am evolving in my 50s is that too is an important model to share with others. That too is an important role to play. Is the one that steps up in their 50s to say, I am going to create this next phase of my life, and I am giving myself permission for it to be everything that I want and everything that I deserve. So I think it's so critical that I would like to invite you to consider, is there an area of life where you've changed yet your choices haven't caught up yet? This is a great place to reflect, to understand that you don't need permission from anyone else. The permission has to come from within. This is where we flex that little power, that inner authority, and we say quietly or loudly, you choose. I give myself permission to create the life that I deserve. Because that gap between where we are right now and where we want to be is vital. That's the key to creating this next phase of life. Now, friend, remember, you don't need a plan. You don't need to have everything figured out yet. You just need that little seed of hope, of knowing that you are giving yourself permission to stand up, to speak up, and to stand out. If any of these has resonated with you today, may I please ask you to like and comment on this video. Perhaps you can share it with another woman in her 50s that might be also experiencing this feeling of being stuck. Because on this channel, we're going to create amazing things together as we build community and as we start to show up bravely and courageously. Until next time, this is Dr. Maria Martinez, and I thank you for being with me today.